Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a profession that sits right at the absolute pinnacle of scientific rigor.
Mm.
It demands, razor-sharp judgment, an unwavering ethical compass, and ultimately the final responsibility for patient safety.
Ultimate responsibility.
Yeah. Now take that incredibly demanding role and imagine a career built within it, one that stretches across maybe decades.
Yeah, often decades.
It's evolving through triumphs, sure, but also unexpected crises and profound personal growth. That's really the journey of a qualified person, or QP, in the pharmaceutical world.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that this isn't some static job description you just step into and, perform.
Right.
It's dynamic. It's a living professional arc. So today we're taking a deep dive into exactly how the career of a QP truly evolves.
Okay.
We're talking from that initial spark of interest, the rigorous, often really grueling training, through those pivotal early days of batch release, all the way to strategic leadership roles, independent consultancy, and eventually the kind of reflective wisdom you see in veteran QPs, people who've really seen it all.
So our mission today is to uncover those critical inflection points. The moments of challenge, the big learning curves, the significant growth that shapes a QP into the, indispensable figure they become.
Yeah, the make or break moments sometimes.
Exactly. And we'll be sharing invaluable lessons learned from people who have navigated this really complex path.
Real stories.
Yeah, and we'll delve into the powerful reasons why QPs choose to stay in this incredibly demanding role, but also, crucially, sometimes why they make that difficult decision to leave.
So that's important too.
It's a rare, behind-the-scenes look at a vital profession, and it's all grounded in real stories, direct quotes, and hard-earned advice from the AssureBio podcast archive. So if this role is so critical, how does someone even begin that journey to become a qualified person? Does it always follow a predictable straight line, or is there more chance involved?
It's rarely a single predetermined path. I mean, sure, many QPs share a foundational science background. That's common.
Right. Chemistry, pharmacy.
Exactly. But their entry into the role, it often comes from unexpected places or maybe traditional scientific routes that then just pivot.
Okay.
We heard from Vicky, for instance. She started as a chemistry graduate, initially working as a research scientist, labs, manufacturing, that sort of thing.
Standard path so far.
Pretty standard. But her interest in the QP role was sparked, almost serendipitously, really, when her boss, Michelle Diedemann, recognized this upcoming need for QPs. This was around the time the clinical trials directive was coming in, 2004.
Regulatory change, driving demand.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And Michelle directly asked her, she recalls, "Have you ever thought about being a QP, Vicky?"
Wow, just like that.
Just like that. It was this moment of real foresight on her boss's part, seeing these impending regulatory shifts and how they'd create demand for this specific expertise. And it set Vicky on a completely new trajectory, moved her from research straight into quality assurance.
And that's often how it happens, isn't it? Just a seed planted, a suggestion from someone with a broader view that just opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Exactly. Uche Ekwazor shared a similar kind of experience. He said the idea of a QP sprung into mind during his university degree.
Oh, earlier on then.
Yeah, after a lecturer just mentioned the role in passing.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't jump right in. Instead, he slowly, gradually explored it. He observed QPs in action, talked to them about their day-to-day, really learned about the work before fully committing.
So more of a slow burn, a research phase.
Definitely. It wasn't immediate, but a really well-researched decision built on curiosity and careful observation.
Makes sense.
Then you have people like Mukesh Patel. His path was, well, anything but typical for a future QP.
Okay, how so?
He also started with chemistry, like Vicky. But then he went into procurement, and then even into FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, toiletries, food.
Right. Completely different world from pharma. Mars Inc., wasn't it?
That's the one. His entry and inspiration within pharma came from this really unique project, creating a veterinary medicines business from the ground up.
From scratch.
Literally.
Yeah.
A wormer product, specifically. He and a small team essentially built this business right from concept of our idea of a product right to being on the shelf.
Wow. So R&D, supply chain, regulatory manufacturing, sales, everything.
Everything. This incredibly non-traditional start, spanning the whole chain, gave him this immense breadth of knowledge. A holistic view, understanding how every piece fits together, especially from a commercial angle.
Which must be invaluable later as a QP.
Absolutely. It proved invaluable later, demonstrating powerfully that diverse experiences can be a huge asset. Not a hindrance, but a foundation.
Okay, so once that interest is sparked, that seed is planted, and maybe some foundational understanding starts to form, then the journey really begins. And it's always described as a significant commitment of time, effort, and resources.
Oh, yeah. Understatement.
So what does that rigorous training actually entail? What does it take to prepare someone for such a critical, high-stakes role?
It's undeniably intense, comprehensive, and very, very hands-on. Vicky described her QP training at Novartis as a 2-year process where she felt she really kind of grew up in my QA role.
2 years is significant.
It is, and she highlighted the critical importance of practical exposure during that time. She didn't just read about manufacturing, she visited facilities.
Yeah.
API site in Grimsby, aseptic and terminally sterilized facilities up in Dundee.
Seeing it in action.
Exactly. These visits weren't just tours. They were crucial hands-on learning, stuff you just can't get from a book. Seeing different product types, processes up close.
And she mentioned hosting trainees too, right? That reciprocal aspect.
Yes, exactly. She hosted trainees at her own non-sterile site. These reciprocal visits were extremely valuable for everyone, she said. Different perspectives, different challenges. This constant exposure to real-world operations, not just abstract concepts, that's the hallmark of good QP training. Builds practical judgment.
That practical hands-on experience seems so vital. Not just for understanding the processes, but like you said, for building that network too. Uchi's journey with GSK's internal program sounded similar, visiting different sites, API, tablet, capsule, IMP, sterile.
Yeah, all the different dosage forms and types.
He called it incredibly invaluable, not just for the exposure, but specifically for building that professional network.
Right. It highlights that the training isn't just about cramming facts and regs. It's about forging those connections with peers, with senior QPs, people who become lifelong resources.
That network piece keeps coming up. Sounds like a lifeline.
It really is. Kevin Curry, he qualified back in 2006 after about 2.5 years of training. He vividly stressed that you form lifelong friendships during that intense process.
Bonds forged in fire, maybe?
Sort of. And he underlined a fundamental truth about the role. QPs don't know everything. Critically, we're not expected to know everything.
That's interesting. So it's okay not to have every answer.
It's more than okay, it's expected. He emphasized the importance of forming meaningful relationships as part of the QP code of conduct, relying on the collective expertise of others. That collaborative aspect, reaching out for counsel from your trusted network, it's built right into how QPs are supposed to operate.
Yeah.
Ensures shared wisdom for complex problems.
But the pinnacle of the training, the ultimate test.
That's the Viva, right? The oral examination. It sounds incredibly challenging, like a real gauntlet.
It absolutely can be a make-or-break moment for many, no doubt. Phil Rose shared his experience very bravely, actually. He failed his first Viva.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He admitted he worked incredibly hard, poured himself into it. Maybe, he thought, compensating for lack of confidence with just tons of technical detail.
Overcompensating.
Perhaps. The failure left him devastated. Totally understandable after so much effort. But ultimately, that setback taught him resilience. It proved it wasn't the end of my career.
That's a huge lesson. Huge. He found a great support network, his wife, mentors, colleagues who helped him process it and get back on his feet. After 18 months of renewed study, maybe differently paced, he passed his second Viva. He said he had a different mindset, felt more confident.
So the Viva tests more than just knowledge. It tests grit, how you handle failure, the strength of your support system.
Exactly. It's a whole package.
That's a powerful lesson in perseverance. Really shows how setbacks can forge resilience. Stephen Clark also shared a story about a bit turbulent Viva experience.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
Well, he made what he called a huge error on a question. Something about establishing a cleaning regime for a sterile facility, an area he hadn't actually worked in deeply.
All right, a weak spot.
But he didn't freeze. He candidly acknowledged it, said something like, listen, I think I got lots of mistakes in there, but hopefully you've already established that I've got the general thought process.
Owning the mistake, but highlighting the thinking.
Exactly. And he passed. Which showed that, back then at least, assessors valued that underlying thought process, the ability to reason through it, even if the specifics weren't perfect.
That's encouraging.
But he did note a shift. He said, I've heard more recently that that's maybe not the case anymore, that if you're not a clone of the assessors, you might find it difficult.
That's less encouraging. Suggests a potential move towards more rote answers, maybe?
Possibly. It adds another layer of pressure, doesn't it?
It does. And Damian Larrington, he pointed to work-life balance as his biggest challenge during training.
Ah, the classic struggle.
Yeah. The sheer volume of material, the constant study, plus holding down a demanding day job. It really tests your commitment, your ability to juggle everything.
I can imagine.
But the consistent message, really, from all these experiences, from the initial spark right through to the Viva, is that this journey, while it's arduous, while it has setbacks, it builds that foundational knowledge, those practical skills, and those critical relationships, plus a resilient mindset.
That support network seems key throughout. Internal, external.
Absolutely. Comes up again and again as crucial for navigating those tough early years.
So you've done it. Passed the Viva, survived the training, you're officially a qualified person. Does the pressure finally ease up? Or does it just change, take on new forms?
Kevin Curry had that great quote, didn't he? Many QPs echo it. A bit like driving. It's only after that you pass your Viva that you start learning to be a QP.
Right. The real learning starts after the test.
Exactly. And he noted this profound shift. The day after you qualify as a QP, people will start to treat you differently. Suddenly, you're in the spotlight from anybody from the production operator all the way up to the MD.
Wow. Immediate visibility and accountability.
Instantly.
Yeah.
You're no longer just learning on the sidelines.
Yeah.
You're the gatekeeper, fully accountable. The weight of that responsibility, it's immense, and it hits you straight away.
That's a rapid change. Marie echoed that, saying her first couple of years as a QP were a real learning curve. Because you're suddenly looking at things through a different lens, more holistically across the whole process.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah. And she made that point. The unfortunate thing with anything, you learn more from the nasty deviations than you'll ever learn from the straightforward batches.
So true. The complex problems are where the real learning happens. Tests your judgment, your application of principles.
Right. And she clarified that term QP discretion, said it's now more precisely described as handling of unexpected deviations in Annex 16.
The EU GMP guide.
Yeah. Which emphasizes that decisions aren't based on a whim. They're driven by strict, objective criteria. Fundamentally, no outside specification, and there cannot be any impact on a patient.
Removes ambiguity.
Yeah.
It has to be rooted in data and patient safety, not just gut feeling. And some of the most profound learning experiences, the real inflection points, they don't come from the routine stuff.
Yeah.
They come from facing unexpected, high-stakes crises, situations that demand immediate, decisive action, way beyond the textbook.
Like the Catalent Corby fire you mentioned earlier.
Exactly that. Vicky and Dave both shared that harrowing real-world experience from March 2011. Vicky, pretty junior as a QP then, maybe 34 or 35.
Thrown in the deep end?
Completely. Found herself thrust onto the leadership table alongside seasoned site directors, global leads. She described it at the time as frankly terrifying.
I bet.
But look back, very interesting from a problem-solving angle. The fire led to this rapid, innovative factory within a factory concept.
Moving equipment people to other sites.
Yeah, quickly moving damaged lines, equipment, even the workforce to other sites, Swindon, Bolton, Germany, just to keep critical medicine supplied. Unprecedented situation. Needed incredible adaptability, common sense, quick decisions.
That sounds like a defining moment, a true test. And you need leadership to empower people in that situation, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Dave described the leadership team during that fire, saying basically, here's the budget, you've got the authority. If you have issues, come back and we'll support you. Just go out and do what you feel is right.
Wow, incredible trust and empowerment.
Crucial in that moment. It allowed the teams on the ground to make rapid, effective decisions without getting bogged down. He emphasized, it's amazing what people can do. It's amazing what a great job they did. Collective ingenuity, sheer grit under pressure.
So what were the biggest technical hurdles? Decontamination must have been huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
Vicky detailed those challenges. Smoke damage, water damage to sensitive equipment.
Yeah.
There was literally no guidance available for that specific scenario.
No playbook.
None. They had to rely on a common sense approach combined with rigorous science. Meticulous swabbing, using subcontract labs for tests to prove cleanliness.
Wow.
And despite all that displaced workforce, people working 24/7, staying in hotels, they managed to produce the first commercial batches from those relocated lines in about 4 weeks.
4 weeks. That's astonishing.
Truly astonishing. A testament, as Vicky said, to a fantastic example in teamwork, all levels pulling together. That experience really drills home that while regs are vital, a QP's true value is often in adaptive problem solving, translating the spirit of GMP to practical solutions when the rules don't cover it.
But it's not just external crises, is it? QPs face internal battles too, holding the line on quality, even when it has huge commercial consequences.
Absolutely. Those can be just as demanding, testing your resolve. Stephen Clark shared a particularly difficult conversation.
The million-pound batch.
That's the one. He had to make the agonizing decision to reject a batch worth £1 million. And from a pure product quality view, it was perfectly good.
So why reject it?
It wasn't product defects. It was the regulatory team being unwilling to support a batch-specific variation. Apparently, they didn't want the regulators to think that we're less than perfect and we sometimes make mistakes.
Wow. Protecting perception over practicality.
Seems like it. Stephen acknowledged this was one of the war wounds that you pick up as a QP. A really poignant reminder of the tough calls, the personal impact of upholding regulatory integrity, even when it means a massive financial hit. That ethical tightrope QPs walk. As QPs gain experience then, their roles often broaden out significantly. It stops being just about batch release details. It becomes more strategic, right, guiding the organization.
Exactly. The scope expands dramatically. Look at Uche Ekwuzer again. He initially qualified with expertise mainly in tablets and capsules.
Pretty standard, solid dose forms.
Right. Now, he says there's probably no thing I haven't released. ATMPs, biopharmaceuticals, other advanced therapies, a huge spectrum.
So he's diversified massively.
Hugely. And his career path shows this, moving from big pharma to smaller, more agile organizations. He was a little bit apprehensive at first, he said.
Understandable. Different culture, fewer resources, maybe, potentially. But it proved incredibly beneficial. He found himself working with far more people in a smaller group, dealing with problems more often, getting deep, hands-on experience across the whole QP study guide.
More exposure, faster learning curve.
Seems that way, including directly interfacing with senior leadership, even performing audit stuff that's rare for a QP in a huge siloed company where specialist groups usually handle audits. This breadth makes him incredibly versatile.
And Dave reinforced that idea of active engagement, didn't he? Even as head of quality, staying listed on licenses, doing batch certification himself.
Yeah, always having skin in the game.
Yeah.
He wanted to be fully immersed within the QP group, not just leading from an office somewhere.
Getting out onto the factory floor.
Absolutely. Talking to people, understanding the daily operations, building trust, supporting his team effectively. That hands-on approach builds credibility, ensures you understand the real challenges, leads to better, more realistic decisions.
And this breadth of experience, it often leads QPs down new paths, right? Like consultancy.
Definitely. A very common path for experienced QPs. Mukesh Patel, after that successful Mars Med project, he established his own consultancy, ComQP Limited, back in 2006.
And he highlighted artwork issues, which was surprising.
Shocking, really. His work in artwork studios revealed this critical stat. The majority of product defects and recalls in the UK are artwork regeneration related. He cited 39% in 2020.
39% from artwork. That's huge.
It's massive, a huge area of risk that often gets overlooked. Seems like a minor detail, maybe.
But it's not. Wrong strength, missing warnings, direct patient impact.
Exactly. He stressed that QPs need to know your risk and make sure artwork studios are audited effectively, because many are not necessarily conversant with GMP, good manufacturing practices.
So they might miss critical steps. Version control, material reconciliation.
All that. Understanding the impact of a tiny font change, a misplaced decimal. Artwork errors are direct patient risks. QPs have to proactively identify and mitigate that, needing a quality systems understanding way beyond just print quality.
We also heard about leadership transitions from Richard Smalley. He said he'd never worked for a company as a QP where that was my only role.
Always juggling multiple responsibilities.
Yeah, he had management positions before becoming a QP, learned to juggle a number of things at once, which helped him develop those key leadership qualities: honesty, integrity, calmness, and listening, all critical in a high-pressure quality environment.
Absolutely essential. But that move into senior leadership, it isn't always smooth sailing. And this touches on why some QPs might step back or leave corporate roles later on.
Richard shared that cautionary tale, didn't he?
He did, about someone who took a 3-grade step up, tempted by the kudos and the pay.
The allure of promotion.
Right, but found it the worst thing he could possibly have done. It had a profoundly negative impact on his personal life and on his career path. Took him years to recover.
Wow, a tough lesson.
It really highlights the need for QPs to consider, what is enough for me, beyond just title and money? Understand the real demands of higher leadership, which can sometimes pull you away from the hands-on quality oversight you actually enjoy.
Makes sense. And Stephen Clark also mentioned QP leaders needing to empower their teams, right?
Yeah, needing to let them develop and grow, and sometimes that means making mistakes, and sometimes that means doing things differently from you. True leadership involves fostering autonomy, accepting calculated risks for team development. A difficult balance, but necessary.
So thinking across that whole career arc, what are the enduring qualities, the things that really set apart an excellent QP, whether they're just starting out or a seasoned veteran? Is there a common thread?
Communication, absolutely paramount, maybe the most underrated quality.
More than just technical knowledge.
Way more, in many ways. Vicky emphasized face-to-face interaction, even with virtual tools, seeing facial expressions, hearing tone of voice, conveys so much more nuance.
Builds understanding, trust.
Exactly. And Kevin Curry, recalling his early days inspecting cleanliness on the factory floor, he learned to communicate with good grace and good humor to connect with experienced workers.
Not just pointing out flaws.
No. He realized he needed to talk to everybody in an organization to gain their trust and cooperation.
Yeah.
That ability to bridge gaps, build rapport at all levels, convey complex stuff clearly to different audiences. It's essential. QPs often have to influence without direct authority over production.
So beyond just talking, it really is about building those meaningful relationships. That network again, internal and external.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Mark said, the ability to build relationships is absolutely key because the QP is reliant on many, many different people across the whole organization, the whole supply chain.
You can't do it alone.
Impossible. Mark, Robin, Stephen, Damien, they all stressed the absolutely critical role, both internal and external networks, for learning, for problem solving, just having a sounding board for tough decisions.
Like Stephen's QP union idea.
Yeah, that collective strength. Reaching out when you need help. If you hit an unusual deviation, you might call someone in your network. Hey, have you ever seen this? What did you do? Leveraging that collective wisdom makes for better decisions. It's a cornerstone of QP excellence.
What about mindset? Traits like curiosity, adaptability, how important are they in this constantly changing field?
Hugely important.
Yeah.
Dave highlighted being curious and inquisitive, having an open mind. These aren't just nice to have. They drive a deeper understanding of processes, potential issues, root causes.
That's digging deeper than the surface.
Exactly. And he, along with Vicky, reinforced the value of common sense, especially in those unexpected situations like the Catalan fire where there was no playbook.
You have to think on your feet.
You do. And Marie's career path, moving across different quality functions, labs, systems, auditing that shows the power of embracing change, she said she learned something from every single one of them, which gave her crucial insight into the different areas for her QP role.
Connecting the dots.
Precisely. Seeing challenges from multiple perspectives. That adaptability allows QPs to pivot, apply core principles in totally new situations.
And that ability to influence, to manage risk, it seems central. Not just finding problems, but shaping the environment, embedding a quality culture.
It absolutely is. Uche emphasized that a strong quality culture means senior leadership must be held ourselves accountable to what we do and what we say.
Right.
Addressing those amber lights, the early warnings, before they escalate into critical deviations.
Proactive, not reactive.
Right. And Robin talked about the danger of an unhealthy norm, where standards sloop over time, aren't addressed, and just become accepted, erodes the whole system.
Complacency creeps in.
It does. He stressed QPs need to immerse yourself in the situation to really get the underlying issues. Advocated for being present, not just remote, to make good, strong decisions.
See it for yourself.
Yeah. Like if you see lots of minor deviations, don't just blame human error. Eye in there, observe, maybe realize the process itself is flawed or the training wasn't right. That hands-on, proactive approach lets QPs genuinely influence outcomes, embed quality in the DNA, prevent problems, rather than just fixing them after they happen.
Okay, but this role, especially as you get more senior or go into consultancy, it sounds incredibly demanding. Constant pressure, balancing compliance, safety, business needs. How do people manage that? How do they avoid burnout in a career with so much weight?
That's a critical question for long-term survival in the role, and it speaks directly to why some QPs do eventually step back or leave. Stephen Clark put it bluntly. Qualifying as a QP doesn't make you bionic.
Good point. Still human.
Exactly. He admitted losing his smile on my bounce a couple of times. A clear sign of the toll it can take. He emphasized the need to look after your health, have a way of switching off and venting. Personal well-being isn't optional if you want to maintain sharp judgment.
It's essential fuel.
Totally. Phil Rose shared his early consultancy experience working 7 days a week full stop for the first 8-10 weeks.
Ouch. Unsustainable.
Learned the hard way. Had to force himself to make sure that you get some time off, even just an hour or two, to let the brain rest. He also missed the commute.
Really? The commute?
Yeah, working from home, He lost that time driving when you could switch off and think about things in the car. That natural buffer between work and personal life, that mental transition time, we often underestimate how vital it is.
So setting clear boundaries, physical and mental, is vital for longevity.
Absolutely crucial. Richard Smalley talked about learning to say no to overcommitment. Realized the organization would let me work 26 hours a day if he didn't set boundaries. He was spread too thin, less effective.
You have to protect your time and energy.
You do. He recommended Covey's time management quadrants focus on the urgent and important, eliminate the non-value adding stuff, actively manage your workload. Mark gave similar advice. Look after your mental and physical well-being, acknowledging these are often the first things sacrificed in times of pressure.
But they're foundational.
Exactly. These self-care strategies aren't selfish. They're directly tied to maintaining the sharp judgment, clear focus, ethical fortitude needed for the role. Without them, burnout is almost guaranteed.
And that core function, risk-based decision-making, it sounds like a constant negotiation. Is that another pressure point?
Yeah.
Always weighing risks, consequences, often with incomplete data.
It's fundamental, yes.
Yeah.
But it requires this delicate, experienced balance. It's often called an art as much as a science for a reason.
Tricky to get right.
Very. Robin Railden described it as one of the hardest approaches to confront for a trainee. Because it's very easy to be very cavalier, release something inappropriate due to pressure or lack of diligence. Or, equally, it's very easy to be risk-averse, reject perfectly good material out of excessive caution, costing time and money.
Finding that middle ground.
That's the challenge. He emphasized walking that path is difficult and much easier if you are immersing yourself in the operations. Really understanding the nuances, the practicalities, the history behind a deviation.
Context is key.
Absolutely. Phil Rose agreed. Found release decisions much easier when he was immersed in the factory, had my finger on the pulse. That direct engagement gives you the context, the confidence for sound judgment, balancing compliance with practical reality and true patient risk.
Looking beyond the day-to-day then, how is the QP role viewed strategically within companies? And how is it evolving with new tech, the changing pharma landscape? Is it still seen mainly as a compliance cop? Or something more?
Mukesh Patel was really strong on this. A QP should be more than just purely seen as a batch releaser.
Yeah.
He felt that's a zero-value contribution if all you do is sign off perfect batches.
Right. The value comes before that point.
Exactly. QPs should be problem solvers, contributing effectively to the business, its efficiency, embodying continual improvement that's straight from ICHQ 10, the quality systems guideline.
Driving improvement, not just checking boxes.
Precisely. Dave's experience at that new company, justifying investment in a robust water system after a critical observation. That exemplifies strategic influence. It ensured patient safety and compliance immediately, yes, but also the long-term health of the business. Prevented costly future issues, moving from identifying a problem to implementing a systemic solution.
And technology, AI is the big one everyone's talking about. How will that reshape the QP's future? Are QPs ready?
It's a huge area of discussion. Damian Larrington acknowledged a mix of fear and excitement about AI.
Understandable mix.
Very. He said QPs absolutely need to upskill, actively engage with it. He even mentioned using AI for practical tasks, like generating topics for GMP training or analyzing large data sets for trends. Shows a willingness to integrate new tools.
Not just resist it.
Right. Stephen Clark echoed this.
Yeah.
Said, while he's only light touch with AI now, we can't just keep it light touch forever. It's going to be a huge part of all of our lives, so we need to throw ourselves into it and understand it.
Adaptation isn't optional.
Not at all. AI can help with predictive analytics for deviations, automating routine document reviews, enhancing regulatory intelligence, freeing QPs for higher-level critical thinking.
But that raises questions about regulation, doesn't it? Richard Smalley flagged that.
He did. Said AI is very valuable, but needs regulation and some guardrails, and he voiced a big concern. The regulators are not keeping up with the challenge of the speed that artificial intelligence is progressing.
The tech is outpacing the rules.
That's his fear. He advocates for more conversation that the industry has with the MHRA and the FDA on this. Urgently needed. Without clear guidance, the QP's role in validating and approving AI-driven systems becomes incredibly complex, uncharted territory.
So this constant evolution means QPs can't afford to get stuck, right?
Definitely not. Can't be pigeonholed into just the batch release role, as Damian put it. That leads to dissatisfaction and limits impact. QPs increasingly want to learn and develop broader projects, quality system improvements, leadership.
And the focus of quality itself is evolving.
Yeah, Marie mentioned emerging topics like human reliability or human ergonomics, understanding how the system let down the individual rather than traditionally what we did was look for human error.
Ah, the shift from blaming people to fixing systems.
Exactly. Analyzing systemic failures, how the environment or process contributed to an error. That's a key area for QP development, shaping future quality investigations.
And these vital discussions about the future of the QP, they're happening now in industry forums.
Oh, yes. The QP Symposium, which Richard, Kevin, and Damien all highlighted, is a prime example. That's where these critical conversations happen, shaping the profession's future.
What's on the agenda?
Everything from challenges of new dosage forms, think cell and gene therapies, leadership for QPs, compliance challenges from ex-inspectors' perspectives, AI integration, the complexities of post-Brexit divergence in regulation.
It covers the whole landscape.
It does. These events are vital for networking, collaborative learning, getting maximum value in this rapidly changing world, staying informed, connected, ahead of the curve. Robin Railton even shared his love for factories, seeing this real parallel between factories and biological systems.
Finding fascination in the complexity.
Exactly. It underscores that intrinsic fascination many QPs have. That deep-seated passion drives their dedication to this incredibly complex, ever-evolving profession.
Wow, what an insightful deep dive into the really dynamic, profoundly impactful career of a qualified person. It's undeniably clear, isn't it? This isn't just a job you clock in and out of. It's a living, breathing journey. Continuous learning, rigorous adaptation, immense responsibility.
Indeed. From that challenging, rigorous training, the crucible of early batch release, through the strategic impact they eventually wield, the evolving demands of leadership, new tech like AI, the QP role truly shapes and is shaped by the incredible professionals who inhabit it. Their passion, dedication, resilience, navigating triumphs and setbacks, it's truly inspiring.
Absolutely. So for those of you listening, maybe aspiring QPs, or maybe you're already well into your career, navigating its complexities, here are 3 key takeaways from our deep dive today, distilled from the wisdom of those who've walked this path.
Okay, first, embrace lifelong learning and practical application. The QP journey doesn't stop at qualification. It's a continuous, dynamic evolution. As Kevin Curry put it so well, you can't know everything. You have to keep learning, rely on your network.
Right, humility is key.
And Mukesh Patel underscored lifelong learning and continual professional development, not just for compliance ticks, but for true mastery. Robin Railton urged bridging theory in practice. Learn academically, yes, but doing it in a practical way.
Make it real.
And Marie's nonlinear career showed us every experience is useful. No matter how varied your path, each step builds crucial insight.
Okay, takeaway number 2.
Second, cultivate your network and master communication skills. We heard it again and again. Relationships are critical. From Kevin's lifelong friendships formed in training to Stephen relying on his Scotland QP network for tough advice, your connections are invaluable. Sounding boards, expertise.
Your professional lifeline.
Pretty much. Dave urged, don't act in isolation. Get out, talk to people on the factory floor, build trust, understand operations from the ground up. And Damien advised practicing communication, articulating answers, even Vivoing with people in your network, so you can clearly, persuasively convey critical decisions.
Makes sense. And the 3rd takeaway.
And finally, third, master adaptability, resilience, and risk-based decision-making. This career is full of unexpected turns, site closures, fires, those challenging batches demanding tough calls with big impacts.
You have to roll with the punches.
You do. Vicky showed the power of common sense and quick thinking in a crisis, innovating when there was no guidance. Phil Rose learned to pick yourself up after failing the Viva profound resilience, learning from setbacks.
Turning negatives into positives.
Exactly. Richard Smalley advised learning to say no to overcommitment, seeing challenges into opportunities. And Stephen reminded us, yes, you need industry people around you, but critically, you also need to look after your health as well. Personal well-being is the foundation for sustained performance, sharp judgment.
Can't pour from an empty cup.
Precisely. And ultimately, as Robin and Damien pointed out, the role boils down to nuanced, risk-based decision-making, a skill honed through deep immersion, varied experience, expertly balancing strict compliance with practical reality and true patient risk.
So this deep dive really shows the QP role is evolving fast. New tech like AI, complex global supply chains, new kinds of medicine.
The landscape is constantly shifting.
So what does this all mean for you listening? How will you contribute to shaping the future of this vital profession? How will you ensure both that unwavering patient safety and that crucial business agility in this dynamic, always changing landscape?